The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the technical deep dive of the Biscom FAXCOM suite. For those of you who joined us at our last Biscom webinar last month in March, we were able to just barely scratch the surface of this product in that introductory webinar. So we are really excited to be back this month to kick off this two-day event. We have a ton of informative content for you over the next 2 days where we really can dig under the covers of this very powerful product and provide a much greater depth of information about the product's architecture, its features, its integrations, and so much more. So thank you for joining us today. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get going. You should see on your screen a Q&A panel, a Q&A window in your GoToWebinar panel, and that's your opportunity to ask any question that comes up throughout the course of this webinar. And at the end, we will answer as many questions as we have time for. So rest assured, if we don't have time to get to your question, somebody from Instant Info Systems will reach out to you directly and make sure you get the information that you need. So before we get going, just a real quick overview. Most of you on the line are familiar with Instant Info Systems. As you know, we have been one of the largest value-added solution providers of fax solutions for the last 20 years. We've got a great depth of expertise in all the architectures, including on-premise, cloud, hybrid faxing, and great depth of expertise around enterprise integration and production fax. Most of you know us as a longtime reseller of WriteFax. Today, we are very proud to be Biscom's largest FAXCOM partner. So what does that mean for you? Well, so many of you have expressed a desire to move off your legacy fax server, particularly WriteFax, and move into the Biscom FAXCOM server. The depth of expertise that we have on both of these products makes sure that that migration will be as smooth and seamless as possible. So I won't touch too much on that. My colleague Fernando is going to speak about that later in the presentation, including a tool that we've developed to help make that migration even easier. But it's important to know that the expertise we bring to the table in both of these products is really a benefit to you as you begin to think about that migration from WriteFax to Biscom. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't point out our unparalleled service and support. Our tech support team will answer your call in an average of under 2 minutes. So I think many of you have experienced that. It's really unheard of in our industry and something we're very proud of. So on to the speakers today. My name is Julie Fraguia. Again, thank you for joining us. I am joined by Fernando Lopez, Sales Engineer for Instant Info Systems, and I'm very happy to have with us today Antonietta Carboni, Director of Channel Development for Biscom, and John Lane, Chief Information Security Officer for Biscom. Both of these two have just an incredible amount of information to share today, and so I will not delay that any longer. I'm very happy to turn it over to Antonietta.
Great, thank you, Julie. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar. On today's webinar, we wanted to take you all into a deeper technical dive of the fax solution and why Biscom is the leader of document delivery solutions and why many organizations like yours come to us with their fax needs. We have developed a level of expertise which is unmatched in not only our product, but also the technologies we integrate with. Biscom focuses on organizations that want to have the most reliable, best supported fax solution that simply runs without constant observation and monitoring. When companies require massive scalability, Biscom's solution has the highest capacity in the industry. When companies have complex environments, Biscom is the only solution that supports granular control and configuration, super scalability, and cost-efficient operations. Our solutions help organizations like yours to secure deliveries, reduce costs, increase productivity, and improve customer satisfaction. We know many of you have experience with different fax solutions, so this will be a great opportunity to highlight the many great and robust features that differentiate the Biscom solutions in the marketplace. Some that we're going to be touching upon during the webinar is the hybrid offering from Biscom, dashboard, real-time monitoring tool, our job tracking and reporting tool, advanced fax routing, and again, our fax migration tools that Fernando will be covering. The result will be a reliable, scalable, and compliant solution for organizations like yours to increase productivity while maintaining a strong hold on security and compliance. Our solutions are used across all industries, including healthcare, finance, government, transportation, education, and many more. What we will show you today is what Biscom brings to the table, which is a true enterprise solution that handles every fax need while providing unmatched world-class customer service support. And I'm going to hand it over now to our CISO, John Lane. Thank you very much, John, and everyone enjoy.
Thanks, Antonetta. The first thing we're going to take a look at is a sample of the architecture that we use. It's just, once again, a sample of it. We have customers that have a lot of more fax servers, much larger environments, as well as simpler environments at the same time. As you can see, there are three main components to any of our solutions: the FAXCOM server component, the FAXCOM queue, or suite for Windows, and the client side of it, or an API. The fax server does all the communications with the telephony network. It does document conversions and inbound OCR text tag extractions. In this diagram, we're using two fax servers in order for redundancy, as well as our hybrid cloud offer. You can have an unlimited number of fax servers and ports within our configurations, as well as connection types. You could mix having SR140 with fax over IP with PRI, as well as potentially using EtherFax as well. The FAXCOM queue, or suite for Windows, the middle part, is our intelligent queue, as we call it. It's the brains of the solution. The queue determines who can send faxes, how faxes are routed, how many and how often retries are done, does integrations with Active Directory, group policy, and many more options. It's also where the workflow and advanced fax routes are defined and executed. The client portion can range from the simple fax to email, desktop or web client, application integration, including SharePoint, OnBase, Centricity, one of our many APIs, including web services. So if we next take a look at FAXCOM Suite for Windows, it's a component, once again, that we use for fax integration. It does integration with Active Directory and other LDAP compliant directory. Unlike most other fax vendors, we don't do any syncing to the Active Directory user list. We directly make calls, so any updates you make in Active Directory are there and available immediately for us. You store the fax number in the fax number field in the Active Directory profile, and we can routing faxes to it. Group policies and FAXCOM policies are used to help control the user's faxing environment, what queue they use, whether they can send or not send faxes, how they receive faxes, maybe restricting what numbers that a particular group of users can send to, and or how long they can store faxes in their mailbox. There are numerous clients, once again, that all link in here, from the desktop, mobile, Outlook, and web clients that you can use. The web and desktop clients have the similar ability to send and receive faxes with options for workflow capability and extended broadcast functionality. We'll talk a little bit more about the clients in a second. Advanced fax routing is our rules-based engine that is used to deliver inbound faxes to a variety of destinations while allowing for automation of the workflow, allowing you to take and set rules and take action based on conditions. APIs and DocFlow are used to integrate with faxing with other applications and processes. We have some native integration with a lot of different applications, including but not limited to Exchange, SharePoint, Salesforce, SAP, iSeries, Highland OnBase, GE, Epic, Siemens, most MFPs, and many more applications. As we take a look at the Biscom client solutions, you can use either our web or desktop client to connect into one of our mailboxes. They work the same way. They have the same functionalities and features. Allows you to send and receive faxes, store inbound faxes into folders, be able to organize your faxes, receive them as PDF or TIFF. Supports all the way up to Windows 10. And you also have an optional print driver to send out non-native documents. We support your standard native documents to submit, directly attaching them, PDF, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and a lot more different types of options. But you also have the print driver available for any maybe custom in-house applications that you have. With the Outlook client, we have a very similar type thing where you can use the print driver. But it's also a client that gives you a button where you can do some simple addressing of the fax instead of having to have your users remember a kind of complex syntax of number at fax domain, they can simply hit the button and fill out the information. We also typically see a lot of our customers, we recommend see a lot of our customers use either the web client or the Outlook client. Web client, especially because there's no desktop footprint. They give them a URL. Maybe you install a print driver, maybe you don't, but they give them a URL. They can log in using their AD credentials quickly, and then start sending and receiving faxes. And Outlook is a very similar way. Without adding the Outlook add-in, they can start sending and receive faxes immediately. So with our advanced client features that we've come out with more recently, the search functionality has been enhanced so that you can search and find things in a lot of different ways. We have the ability to have custom indexable fields where you can build them as part of a workflow. A fax comes in, you can extract information from that fax, maybe a patient medical record number. Put that in there, and then you can start searching a lot as well. Broadcast management is really nice in here because when you send a fax to, say, 500 people, it returns you a high-level summary status of, 490 went successfully and 10 failed. And then you can just look at those 10 that failed and see why, and maybe resubmit them all as one batch, sending out at the same time, instead of having to look through them one by one. Some of the workflow time functionalities that are built directly in the base product, you're able to have a manager view, shared mailboxes as well, where you have multiple users operating off the same mailbox. Maybe they're processing loan applications as they come in. And you have multiple people looking at the faxes, grabbing the next unread one, and processing it. There's ability to do auto-archiving. We have some enhanced workflow features where you can define actions that are taken, robotic actions as we call them, when fields are filled out. So once a field, as an example, fax came in with a loan application, comes into me, I'm just a processor. I put in the loan number that I pulled off the fax and maybe some information. And once those fields are filled in, I could have it automatically move to Antonetta's view, where she's now approving the loan or moving on. So some of that advanced functionality is also present and available. And what's even better is the auditability of the system. So there's an audit trail so you can see who did what and when they did it and what they did to a fax, so that you can then trace information back in case something happens or just to meet your compliance needs. And you have the option of encrypting the faxes at rest on the disks, helping you comply with things such as HIPAA, PCI standards that require that you encrypt protected data at rest. From the mobile perspective, on this, we support iOS, so any iPhone or iPads as well as Android devices, allowing you to send and receive faxes from it. It links to that same mailbox that we were just talking about with the advanced client, where you can see the faxes that you have on your web client or your desktop client within the mobile client, as well as submit faxes. You can take pictures. What some people have used it for is taking pictures of vendor invoices and sending them off to someone else or PO, and then sending it out to a vendor. So instead of walking to the scanner, they're just taking a picture right there and then submitting it. So talking about a little bit more about the solution from kind of an architecture standpoint is the hybrid solution. And we can do this multiple different ways. We're going to talk about it using the Biscom cloud as well as EtherFax. So first, taking a look at the Biscom cloud, you can use it to fail over automatically if your local fax server was having problems. So you'd set it up where the connections are to your local fax server as well as to our cloud solution. When the local fax server is offline, the faxes automatically go to the cloud, or you can have it overflow based on a broadcast. So if a fax is sitting in the queue for more than, say, 5 minutes, you can define that, have it automatically fail over to the cloud and start sending out faxes that way. You could also, in the case of site failures, have an alternate site for your queues, set up a cloud virtual machine in order to send and receive faxes from connecting to the cloud service. So maybe using Amazon AWS to have a queue up there in the case of total site failure. And the nice thing about the hybrid solution allows you to do is kind of simplify some of the redundancy. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a few slides. So the hybrid option with EtherFax. We also have support for EtherFax. I know a lot of WriteFax customers have migrated and started using EtherFax. And as you migrate over to the Biscom solution, you can still continue using EtherFax. So you just replace the dielectric driver that's normally there with the EtherFax driver, and you're up and running with your fax server in no time, being able to send and receive faxes. Once again, you can keep on using it. The features on the client side are all the same. Nothing changes. You could also have local fax servers with PRI or SR140 or T.38, and then also have EtherFax as a failover. So instead of using the Biscom cloud, you could use EtherFax as a failover, either, once again, as failover or even a primary path if you want to use it instead of using any local telephony. From the Biscom hosted fax perspective, using our enterprise cloud faxing service is great because it looks and feels the same way to your end users as if you're using PRIs or T.38, meaning you can use your Outlook integration, your web integration, your MFPs, any of the file sharing, any of the advanced fax routing that we'll talk about. That can all be used within the same solution. And what's replaced is you don't have a fax server in that case. It connects directly to the cloud faxing service in our data centers. So as we take a look at advanced fax routing is a rules-based engine that is used to deliver inbound faxes to a variety of destinations while allowing, once again, for the automation of workflow. It works by setting a condition and then taking an action on it. So as we took a look at it, what does it do? How does it work? First, you can gather the fax details, known information such as the time and date a fax came in, the number of pages, the caller ID it came from, and then take action based on those or use them to set a rule. So it could be as simple as when faxes come in at between 9 and 10 in the morning, I'm going to send them off to Antoinetta. When they come in between 10 and 5, send them off to John because he's the one doing most of the work during the day anyways. Then you could go on to potentially extracting additional information and additional data from the fax. So maybe I'm using a barcode. I'm reading a barcode, which is a loan number on the fax. I'm pulling that loan number off of it in order to look up in a database, which is the next step, performing a lookup, to find out where to route it to. So maybe the information on who handles certain loans are stored in the SQL database. Then maybe I'm formatting the delivery with a custom XML file, a custom text file, in order to deliver it to another system and have it pick it up, and then completing the delivery. And once again, completing the delivery could be one of many things. It could be to our fax client automatically populating some notes fields. It could be delivering it to an email recipient, drop it in a UNC. It could be telling us to delete the fax. We could be taking a custom action based on another executable that we want to use, and many, many more options that can be used. So advanced fax routing gives you a lot of different power to do a lot of different custom things when it comes to inbound routing. And if you can think of something, we probably do it with this. The other nice thing that customers will sometimes use this for is to emulate another process or another fax vendor. So as you migrate away from them, maybe we need to drop a file in a UNC folder with a custom header file that's needed to be consumed into a document management solution. A lot of times we can handle all that directly with advanced fax routing. So just a couple quick examples of how we've used advanced fax routing from a reimbursement processing perspective. We have a company that has built a website where they do this actually as an outsourced service. They give users the ability to log on, create for each different expense report that they're sending in a custom cover page which has a barcode on it. They get that barcoded cover page, they send it in, and then what happens in the background in order to automate things and to make things quicker and cheaper for them to do, we scan the barcode automatically when it comes in. We're able to look up the information on the employee, populate information in that employee within the delivery. In this case, we're sending off the fax to an FTP location, so we're uploading it to an FTP site. We're updating the record in the database to say that, okay, we received back in an expense report request, and then we're emailing a confirmation off to the end user. All these steps were usually done in the past by sending them through manual fax machines, coming into manual fax machines, and it was all done by hand. And doing it with AFR, we're able to reduce a lot of cost and expense on the customer side. So we take a look at another example in order fulfillment. A biotech company does specialty drugs that when they come in from doctors, these are drugs that are very, very expensive, very special conditions. When they come in, they want to be able to deliver them to different distribution centers based on the drug that was on it. So they have the doctors have custom barcoded forms that they use. They fill out. They're submitted in. When the faxes come in, the first thing we look to do is split the fax. Why do we do that? Because a lot of times the doctors are submitting 4, 5, 6 of them all at the same time at the end of the day, because these are specialty drugs that are not fulfilled at your normal pharmacy. So they're submitting them all at one time, and as we see the application changes with different ones, we split them so they're separate deliveries to make it easier on fulfilling the prescription. We do a lookup in LDAP in order to find out where they want to send it to, which UNC location that it's going to based on the distribution center. We send it off to that UNC location, and then we shoot off, once again, an email notification telling someone, hey, go out and take care of that fax application that's out there. DocFlow is another nice application that we use a lot of time to help customers migrate from other applications, because it's taking a data stream, extracting fax information from it, and then submitting it out as a fax. So there are very different sources that we can use, such as it could be a file drop that we're scanning. It could be a print stream that's set up that we're accepting what looks to us as PCL or PostScript data. Or it's email, where we're able to extract the information from email. The files are, in the end, pulled out of the folder or the other source. They're not limited to text files. They can be other types of documents. We've worked with, mail merge documents like Word documents, HL7 message is PostScript files and PCL files, where we're able to look in there, extract the addressing information, maybe find a fax number, or better yet, maybe find a pointer that then tells us to go look at a database and extract the fax number from there. After we have that information, we extract the fax from itself, what's going to be faxed out from the data that came in, and then send it out. And it's a great thing that we've used to emulate other products. They were already doing something with another application, say WriteFax, and it's through a print streams application. We're able to customize DocFlow. So it comes with a set template that you can use, but it's also very customizable, where we can look for different keywords in order to extract information from the fax. So from a management perspective, we have our FAXCOM Suite MMC that you can use to manage the entire solution, which is nice. All the different components can be managed from there, and that includes the SMTP, FAXCOM client, the FAXCOM server, web clients, and different components of the API setup. We also have some directory-enabled fax management, and that's where it comes in with our group policy integration, where you can help control the user's faxing environment, or you can use our FAXCOM policy, which are the same as group policies, except they're for people that don't want to use group policies. And you can manage these users and applications all from a central location, or you can split it apart, and if you have different departments, you can always split it apart and do it at different locations, and kind of segregate some of that administration to either make it easier, or maybe you're dealing with different subsidiaries that need to have separate. They need to have a central solution, but they need to manage it separately. So as we take a look at another great feature that we've come out with over the past few years, which is our FAXCOM dashboard. It allows us or you to manage your fax ecosystem and see the health and what's going on about it. They get some nice dashboard components that you can look at and see. But the other part that I really like is the alerting component that's built into here. So it can be used to monitor items and alert based on conditions changing, either going above a threshold or falling below a threshold. An example would be monitoring a fax server to make sure that there's always faxes coming in, and alert if the amount of faxes fall below an expected value. The nice thing with that is you can also set that monitoring to avoid getting alerts at off-peak times. So you may care that between 8 and 8 that you receive at least 10 faxes per hour. Or you can care about that, or at night from 12 to 5 in the morning where you know that you don't get any faxes, don't monitor it. So you can set up those alerts to avoid giving you those false positives of off-peak hours. There are hundreds of different points that can be monitored, both on the FAXCOM server component as well as the suite and queue components we talked about. In addition, each administrator can have a customized dashboard. So if you do have that separate administration, you could have somebody look at one set of queues and another group looking at a different set of queues. And you can have different alerts based on those queues and based on the conditions. Maybe somebody handles alerts based on usage being or utilization being high, and a different group deals with, number of faxes waiting to be routed. Job tracking reporting is our reporting tool where we've gathered a wealth of information stored in a SQL database that allows us to report on really an unlimited number of different things that happen in the system when it comes to fax usage. We include about 20 standard reports, but they can all be customized for your own use. They can be, we can create custom reports that are totally outside of those ones. You can share the reports. You can set them to automatically delivered. You can set some alerts based on as well. You can also potentially have it send an Excel spreadsheet with information already populated in it. What I like is being able to schedule the reports because at times our customers, administrators, will get requests for reports on a weekly basis. So say the sales or the marketing department want to know how many faxes they sent out every week. You can schedule a report, have it delivered to the managers of that department automatically, and no user intervention outside of just setting it up that first time. Some of high availability option, we have many different ways to do it. We can have an active-active approach. We can do active-passive. You can have, of course, cold spares if you wanted to, especially if you're dealing with PRIs. But I find the best method, especially when using fax over IP or with EtherFax, is leveraging the power of the virtual machines, right? Having them do all the failover, using VMware or Hyper-V to do an automatic failover that they already have built into their products. Let them do what they do best. So if a host fails, it automatically moves your image to another machine. You're up and running, and now there's no problems whatsoever. You can also mix, as we talked a little bit earlier, different types of trunks. You could have SIP trunks. You could have PRIs at the same time in a different system for redundancy. You could have the Biscom hybrid cloud, or you could use EtherFax, all different methods on the telephony in order to mix it so that you have the best and most available fax server possible. So kind of finishing up on a couple of the integrations that we have. We have native integration with one of our partners with SAP, where you can send and receive faxes from SAP. There's a nice web interface where you can view delivery status information, different queuing abilities that you have within it, real-time delivery of statuses into the SAP Office application. And you only need a single license to do all this. And it's a host-based application that can be set up rather quickly and get up and running in a limited amount of time. And then that application just connects to our either back-end fax servers or FAXCOM queues. Now, the final piece before I hand it back over that we have is integration with OnBase. This was actually developed by OnBase a handful of years ago and maintained by them with each of their new versions as well as our new versions. We have the ability to, pull information faxes directly into OnBase and be able to put it into their workflows by maybe extracting information from the fax using our AFR, or just the fax metadata, which is the telephone number, the caller ID, the time and date, that kind of information, automatically start populating that into the workflow, as well as columns, putting it right into your business workflows. I know a lot of customers use OnBase for a lot of different applications. One particular application is bringing inbound faxes into Epic. Allows you to bring the faxes right into the Epic medical records application by just setting up the configuration, dropping the faxes in UNC, and away it goes. With that, I'm going to wrap up our part of the product overview.
And thank you for that. That was very heavy with a lot of features, and we definitely look forward to helping you guys out in any of those solutions. As this next step is, now that you have all those tools available, how do you get there? And one of the things that we can do from the Instant Info perspective is provide you that expertise. And with that expertise comes the ability to move you. And just like we don't like moving in our lives from a home to another home, we make that same transition easy for you. The migration utility that we have can help you migrate all your data, the faxes that come in, and with the transition comes an ease to the new product, so that you're able to get not only your data but your products all working together with the new application here. And that's one of the things that Biscom has. So we've heard a lot of cries for this, and we've developed the solution for you. Hopefully that transition is a lot easier for you, and we look forward to helping you out with it.
Thanks, Fernando. I really appreciate that. And thank you to John and Antonietta. Great presentation full of a lot of in-depth information. So thank you for all of that. Hopefully our audience, you've all enjoyed this in-depth look at the FAXCOM Biscom product. We have a bunch of questions that have come in over the course of the presentation. And I know we're running up about the 30-minute mark here, so we'll get through as many of these as we can. But rest assured, again, if we do not get to your specific question, please don't worry. We will have somebody reach out to you directly and make sure you get all of the information you're looking for. So let's go through this list of questions. My goodness. Here is one for the Biscom team. Do you have the ability to do chargeback reports? Antonietta or John, do you want to take that?
Yes, absolutely. With our job tracking module, all customers will have the ability to do chargebacks, and that was a specific request when we built job tracking back years ago. Very important, specifically in large enterprise organizations that are building out our solution as, let's say, another business within their business. So that is a key feature that comes up in any enterprise implementation.
Perfect. What about another one for you? Can I automate inbound faxing?
Yes, you can. So you have many different options. The best one is to use the advanced fax routing module. It allows you to start to extract information and pre-process the fax before it even gets to one of your end users, taking away some of the mistakes that humans may make, as well as leveraging the ability of the system to do the work quicker and more accurately. So it might be as simple as reading a barcode and extracting the medical record number right off it, or a loan number, and then just routing it to the correct department based on information. Or it could be as simple as doing it based on time of day. So 9 to 5 is one work crew, and then 5 to midnight is a total different group.
Perfect. So on that note about different groups, I have a question here from someone who said, can different user groups use different clients?
Yes, and even the same user group can use different clients. So you could have users that are using the desktop application right alongside users that are using the web application, right alongside users that are using email, and other ones that are using API. So not only can you segregate it by department if you want, you could also just segregate it by user and what client they have the ability to use.
Perfect. One regarding, are faxes stored encrypted at rest?
Yes, with the advanced client options that we have, that is part of the product that comes with it, allows you to encrypt the faxes at rest on disk.
Excellent. Let's see, going through this list. Here's one that deals with kind of a comparison between WriteFax and FAXCOM. This user noted, when I do a WriteFax upgrade, I can only do it, the only way I can do it without is, I'm sorry, let me reread this. The only way I can do it without taking my server offline is to do a migration and build out an entirely new test server for production faxing. Can you go into more detail about how FAXCOM upgrades are performed?
Sure. The nice thing is we have a modular approach to all of it, where we have queues and fax servers, and helping you set it up ahead of time, both IIS as well as Biscom. You can set it up in such a way as if you have multiple fax servers and multiple queues, you can migrate it without taking anything offline. And if there is any offline time, it's usually minutes at top. So you can upgrade different components separately so that you never have to take the entire thing offline. So you could have 2 different fax servers running different versions, and you could take one offline to upgrade it while leaving the other one up and running at all times. The upgrades don't take very long at all. They're pretty quick. But then once that one that you were upgrading is back online and running, you verified it, you could take the other one offline momentarily and upgrade that one. Same thing with the queues. It allows you to do it in that modular approach.
Perfect. Thank you. My goodness. I don't think we're going to have time to get through all these. Let me see if we can get a couple more in before we wrap up. Does FAXCOM work with EtherFax?
Yes, it does. So, I mean, you have the ability to, right out of the box, you can set it up and have it work with EtherFax as if it was a Dialogic 1034 board or SR140. It works all the same way. And you can mix it. So, once again, going back to kind of that EtherFax hybrid cloud option we were talking about a little bit, you could have a fax server with SR140 backed up by a fax server with EtherFax connected to it. And it's very quick and easy to set up.
So, John, this is actually a question from me now. Kind of sparked my curiosity. If somebody's using WriteFax with EtherFax and they want to make the migration to FAXCOM, can we assume that that transition happens seamlessly as well, even with the EtherFax connector already in place with WriteFax? How does that work?
So you'd set up your Biscom fax server on the side, get it up and running, do some testing with it, make sure everything's okay, and then just basically shut off your configure your Biscom fax server to connect to EtherFax on your account, and shut off your WriteFax fax server, and you're all set. And of course, that's my favorite part, is shutting off the WriteFax fax server.
All right, that's great. I've got several questions regarding integrations. I'm going to see if I can cover off a whole bunch of them at once. I've got a question regarding, does your product work with Exchange 2016? Does it work with 2010? And are there other integrations besides Highland and Kofax? Can we touch on kind of integration as a whole with these applications?
So yeah, the answer is yes across the board there. We support all that. We have many different applications we've integrated with, and a lot of those, nice thing about a lot of those document management applications, I find a lot of the times the simplest way to do it is to use a UNC drop and a file scrape, right? Because that's built natively into those applications like Kofax as well as Highland OnBase. Even SharePoint, you can extract that information and pull it in all at the same time. We also, as I mentioned, we also have direct integration with SharePoint that you can send and receive faxes from. So it's you name it, and if we don't have a native integration in some way, there's most likely a way that we can do it.
Perfect. And really quick, I'm going to squeeze in a couple more here. Do you have Android support on your mobile client?
Yes, we do. Both Android phones as well as tablets are supported that you can send and receive faxes from.
Perfect. And I think we'll make this our last question as we hit the 10:40 mark here in Pacific Coast time. Do all users have to have a fax number to receive faxes? Some of our users only receive and do not send.
So yeah, I mean, they have to have some sort of a number associated with them in order to receive. But it could be where faxes are coming into a central point, and somebody's like Antoinetta, who might be routing them. She's opening them up, looking at them, routing them, or it's using advanced fax routing. And that advanced fax routing is actually seeing that, either through OCR or barcode reading, seeing that this fax is for Antoinetta, or it's for Will, it's for John, and routing based on that information. So, I mean, if they want to get their own personal faxes, then yeah, they have to have a number associated with them. But if they can use a shared either pool come into, like say, a department fax number, they could do it that way, or any type of application you're processing, reading some sort of barcode or OCR could also be done.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And with that, I am going to wrap up this webinar. I want to be sensitive to everybody's time, but thank you, everyone, for attending today. I hope you got a lot of information from this webinar. I'd like to also invite you to tomorrow's webinar, where we're going to continue this technical deep dive of the Biscom FAXCOM solution, very specific to the healthcare market. So if you are in the healthcare space, this is definitely an event you will not want to miss. In the meantime, again, thank you to my presenters, Antonietta and John and Fernando. Really appreciate your time and all the great information today. And for those of you on the line, if you did not get your questions answered, please rest assured we will reach out to you, or you are welcome to contact us using the information that you see on your screen. So with that, I will say thank you again and have a fantastic day.